Alright, this is Vegeta8259 again, and it's finally time for my Master Grade Sazabi review. And before we start, as you can see, I have successfully mounted him on the action base. Now, the action base comes with these little thingies, and I believe this one is the widest little mount that it comes with. It usually fits up on the crotch, and it's got these little U-shaped parts that holds the hip joints, but Sazabi's way too big for those. So what I did was I went in here and drilled a small hole right up in the crotch, and the action base comes with a peg, little joint right there that you can use, and I just put the peg in that hole and it actually holds him pretty well. Now, as you can see, he's kind of wobbly and he's very, very, very heavy. Even like when I put a shield on his arm, he started to tilt this way, and I was like, whoa, I gotta balance him out some more. But he does hold, and yeah, I think once I get this guy painted and finished, he's gonna look really, really good. I'm actually really excited about this kit. So if you'll just give me a second, I will take him off the action base and we can start with the review. Put that aside. And let's see. Let's get this camera set up so we can hopefully get Sazabi in the camera frame. He might be too big. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So, let's get started. Alright, whoa, there goes his hand. This will be a good opportunity to take his accessories off so I can do those later. This will probably be a two-part review, so I'm not going to bother rushing things. That's why I showed you the action base. Alright. First off, I'll start with colors. He is molded in two different shades of red. Again, I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera too well, but he does have a darker red, like for the side. Well, most of his body is the darker red, and a few parts are molded in a slightly lighter red. The front skirts, this front chest piece here, these parts on the shoulders, these thrusters right here, and his head, and the tips of his toes down here are all molded in that brighter red. And he is also molded in a little bit of yellow just on the energy cable around his waist, these thrusters here, beam cannon in his stomach, and a couple more thrusters on the back there. And he's got black on, you know, the arms, the knees, knee joints. Most of the inner frame is black, and as you can see, most of his backpack is black. And I think that's about it. I don't think he has any gray plastic. There's like some rubbery plastic like polycaps and another ABS plastic frame that's molded in gray, but that's mostly just for joints and stuff. That didn't really show up on the outside of the kit. And of course he's got that clear green for his beam weapons. Alright, so let's get into articulation. He's actually pretty well articulated for a earlier master grade. He's got a ball joint shoulder. There's a ball joint down inside the torso there, so his shoulders can go forward and back and up and down a little bit, and of course they can rotate 360. Here, I'll take it off and show you. See, here's that ball joint. That's down inside the torso. Alright, the shoulder armor is separate from the shoulder joint, so it can move a little bit forward and back. And these, this big thruster pod right here can move up into the shoulder and down against the arm, just like that. Let's see, he rotates below the shoulder. He has a double jointed elbow, and I was surprised that he could actually move it this far. I didn't think he'd be able to bend his elbow that far, but he does. And he's got these nice little pistons here in the back that go in and out when you bend his elbow. And he has propellant tanks that fall off. Get those back in there. And his the wrist joint, the whole part of the wrist kind of goes forward and back. And then, of course, his wrist is on a ball joint, so it can wiggle back and forth and rotate carefully if you're not too rough with it. And he's got very posable hands for an earlier master grade. He's got this pretty much the same hands as a 2.0 kit. He's got the ball joint thumb, and he's got individually ball jointed fingers that also bend. So each finger can bend like that, and yeah, pretty good. I think the only reason they were able to do it back when this kit was made was because of Sazabi's size. Let's see. Alright, move on to the head. The head actually has some nice articulation. He has, let's see if I can move the camera so you can see it better. Let's see, the neck is double jointed, so it can go forward quite a ways, and it can go up a little bit. And he's got this cool little mechanism on his forehead where that part lifts up and the face part comes down, so it exposes the mono eye. And I really doubt you'll be able to see it, but down inside the head there is Char sitting in the little pilot seat. So that's a nice detail. I'm glad they actually put the pilot inside the head where he's supposed to be, just like he was in the movie. Alright, let's lift these arms up. The waist is on a ball joint, so it can move side to side just a little bit, forward and back just a little bit, and it's really hardly any movement at all. And if you lift his torso up and kind of expose that ball joint a little bit, he can have a little bit better range of motion. See, when you lift him up, it's actually quite a bit more. And he really can't rotate very much at all, only about that far to each side. I think it's because of this big old energy cable around his waist. Alright, let's move on to the backpack. As you've seen them fall out twice already, I think. These propellant tanks are on ball joints, so they can wiggle around. The funnel system is very nicely done. They can move side to side. They can move up and down. So they can, you know, kind of make a circular motion. Then the funnel pod opens up, flips open, and since one of the funnels decided to fall out, I'll just show you that one. And these funnels are actually functional and have movable parts. So these little flaps open up, this part goes forward, and you've got 6 little funnels that can fly around and shoot up stuff. I'm trying to decide if I want to make like some clear rods and insert in the back and have them coming off of the action base, kind of like the High New Gundam has. I'm not sure. I may try something like that because I think that would look good. Alright, got a little bit of time left, so let's try to finish up articulation before we go into part 2. The side skirts are on ball joints, so they can move pretty freely, as are the front skirts are also on ball joints. The hip joints are ball joints as well, so they can go forward quite a ways, back just as far as the back skirt will let it, and go in and out. One thing about these hips being ball joints though is that they tend to get really loose just because of the weight of this kit. He's very, very heavy, so the legs tend to get kind of floppy on you. And his knees are double jointed, but because of how bulky he is, they only bend about that far. And the feet are on a ball joint, so they can go side to side a little bit, forward and back just a bit. They can rotate a little bit, and the ends of the toes can go down, as well as the heel can also go down and kind of dig into the ground there if you need some extra stability. And I believe that about does it for articulation. So I think I'm going to end this part of the review right here and see you for the next part to finish everything up.